Welcome to SLCC Live, the final SLCC Live of this semester. This crazy, fantastically, you couldn't even make this up, wonderful, strange semester that we've had so far. We're excited to be here. It's going to be a fun day. We have a lot going on. We are actually going to be doing some rotation, as we'll talk about in just a second. We're going to see some different faces and hear some different voices today. But before we get too far, I wanted to just do a quick introduction on who we have right now. So first of all, hi, my name is Zach. I'll be your host. And my smarter partner in crime next to me, at least on my Zoom window, is Portia. Hello, Portia.
I'm above you on mine, so hello.
Oh, you're above. See, I never know what section of the Brady Bunch anybody is. I would point all the time if I did, so it's probably best that I don't know. And this segment is brought to us today by our producer, Alex. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And then holding down the fort with the news, weather, traffic, which, I got to just say, after last week's show, I'm disappointed that I have to throw it over to you for news, weather, traffic, Denny, because you were so legendary. But Denny is on our news, weather, and traffic.
Hey, man, I do what I can.
Yeah, it was very good. All right, so like I said, we're going to get started here. We are going to have a little bit of a rotation. So we are going to rotate producers a little bit, rotate some voices a little bit. So in this first segment is going to be that crew, and we'll reintroduce you in the next one. But what I wanted to say before we get too far is make sure that you are, if you're listening to this on Radio SLCC, make sure that you follow us on social media. So, of course, you can go to Facebook and search SLCC SMC or Student Media Center. Then on Twitter and Instagram, you can go at SLCC SMC. We'd love to hear from you. So please reach out to us on our social medias. But today, we're talking about one of my very favorite topics, podcasting. I'm a huge fan of podcasting myself. I have listened to podcasts for a long time. I've even dabbled in creation myself. So let me throw it over to you for a second, Portia. Are you a podcast listener?
Yes, I'm a podcast listener, not a podcast producer, though.
Okay. So what are your favorite podcasts right now? What's something that you like at this moment?
I'm really into true crime podcasts. I really like that's honestly 90% of what I listen to. So my favorite murder is always a classic Small Town Murder. They recently just had an American Fork episode about a murder that happened there. That was awesome. There's a new podcast. It's called Lights Out, and they go through like different like phenomena, like supernatural stuff, or their most recent episode is on the Green River Killer. So just like cool stuff like that. I also like the Mile Higher podcast, which they kind of just talk about like recent events, and then they usually like talk about conspiracy theories, things like that. So mostly true crime type of stuff, though.
Clearly,
not Disney stuff.
What got you into the true crime thing? Like how did you approach that, and what got you into it?
I think I've always liked true crime, like my whole life. When I was a kid, my mom used to watch I think it was called like True Case Files. Like they're like pretty scary, honestly, as a child. I should not have been watching that stuff, but that like made me really like it. She also watches Dateline every Friday night, I think, like my whole life. And so I kind of just always grew up liking it. And then I think podcasts is so much better than like watching a TV show, because I hardly ever watch TV.
Yeah.
It's only natural that I listen to true crime podcasts.
I'm almost the exact opposite. I won't listen to true crime because of the shows that I was like watching America's Most Wanted as a kid, and I like Dateline and all that. Like it kind of freaked me out, and so I think that's been the thing that's pushed me away from them, because it's like I don't know if 25 years later if I'm emotionally ready for this yet.
I think I'm not emotionally ready. I think it's just all I know, so I can't grow out of it ever. I'm just gonna be stuck there.
So, has your podcast taste changed over the last couple of years, or have you always been on the true crime kick?
I think I've always been. I started listening to podcasts when I was in high school, and that was before they were like really big. Like most.
That was like 6 minutes ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, it's been 3-4 years now. Yeah. So I don't know, like 4 years probably of listening to podcasts. But once I find a podcast like those ones that I named, I've listened to the same ones for 4 years. Like I don't really find new ones very often, unless like the network that they're on produces a new one, because I am a creature of habit, so I stay on the same ones for a really long time. But the Wondery network has a lot of great ones, so I feel like I just have to stay within those. But yeah, it's always going to be true crime. I don't think I'll ever develop a new taste.
Well, I mean, go with what you know, right? I totally agree with you about the podcast producers, like the networks. I have a similar thing. So my style of podcasts is a little different. I like a lot of comedy. I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts. I almost think of it like, I don't know. They had like the old radio dramas. I just have my little comedy skits or whatever. So I really listen to a lot of the Earwolf Network. And that's the shows like Comedy Bang Bang, if you've ever heard of that. It's like an improv comedy interview show. There's a podcast called Off Book. It's an improvised musical podcast. And so they invite a guest on and they literally just improv a musical. They have like a piano player there who's just playing music. And it's like everything from really clever to like really foul. And it's pretty funny there.
Well,
And then, yeah, so I listen to like a lot of comedy myself.
the two of the podcasts that I listen to the most, Small Town Murder and My Favorite Murder, the hosts are comedians.
Mm.
So it is kind of messed up. A lot of people don't like it because, I mean, it's comedy and true crime combined. So they don't like make fun of like victims, but just like the pretense for a lot of different things are actually pretty funny. And so they do it in a comedic way a lot of the time. So it's not, I guess, like I don't listen to like the version of Dateline podcast. Like I couldn't like watch super serious stuff like that or listen to it. So the comedy twist on it, I think, makes it a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I think it's entertainment, right? We're really listening for entertainment, and so I don't. Have you ever listened to the podcast Lore?
Yeah.
I feel like that's because it's more like audio drama and a little more serious. That's kind of it doesn't really like sit with me. I'm like, I get what you're doing, so I appreciate the levity. I think you need that when it comes to that topic.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you have some favorite podcasts that you like to listen to all the time?
Yeah, I actually outside of the comedy stuff, I have movie podcasts. So I like to listen to movie news, which is I haven't been since all this COVID stuff. I really haven't had much in the way of listening to those because there's not much going on in movies. But there's one called Sift Pop. I really like it because it's a podcast done by a radio host, and so he does it in the structure of a radio show. It's not like, hey man, we're just a couple of guys who turned on a mic. It's like it's a radio show. He does it with structure. He does it like we do. He has benchmark bits. Like he so I really appreciate that show. And then they do movie reviews. That's Sift Pop. And then this is a shameless plug, but one of my favorite podcasts is called Bacon Sale. It is a pop culture podcast with a couple of local guys who talk about everything from movies to TV to games to fast food and board games. They had an episode on board games this week. I say selfish because I've been like a substitute on the show for the last month
Yeah.
while one of the hosts is having a baby. So, but I'd been listening to it for years. That's why they had me on, I think. But yeah, so I like basically I like to laugh. I like to hear what's going on with movies and listen to movie reviews and what I like about it is none of it's too involved or intense, and so I can kind of listen to it in the background.
Oh
There's
yeah.
there's another one I listen to. It's IGN Game Scoop. It talks about video games, and it's like I'll find that I don't listen for like 20 minutes and just come back to it. I don't feel like I need to rewind. It's just it's on, and now it's going on.
I love the background noise. That's the hard thing
Yeah.
about true crime ones. If you don't listen for 5 minutes, you really miss things.
hmm One of the ones I was going to mention as well was actually just mentioned on our Facebook. So I love the podcast How Did This Get Made? It's a couple of comedians who watched a terrible movie and then just kind of talk about it. Also, shout out to Ashley Stinger, who says, Welcome to Night Vale is amazing in terms of fictional podcasts. Alex Brown also says, Last Podcast on the Left is my favorite. And
Last
our own,
left.
yeah, yeah, good one. And then our own Allison says that she loves Small Town Murder. And so, yeah, she was at the live show when they were here. So awesome.
My dream.
So I think that there's plenty to listen to as far as podcasts go. And I think, reach out, get them Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever. We've got time. So yeah, I recommend to anyone to jump on and start listening to those podcasts. But I want to hear what else is going on in the world. So we're going to throw it over to our man, Denny, for some news, weather, and traffic.
All right, now look, listen, right? I'm starting off with the news, and we got some nice saucy bit of news coming to us from BBC News. The Pentagon has released UFO videos. For the record, the Pentagon said it wanted to, quote, clear up any misconception by the public whether or not the footage that has been circulating was real. The original videos have been leaked in 2007 and 2017 and were published in the New York Times both times. And what's in the videos is that they're like taking these old-timey videos, I guess. It's all grainy and black and white. They were filmed by two Navy fighter pilots and showed a round object hovering over the water about 100 miles out to the Pacific Ocean. So, now we know that aliens are real. And, the Pentagon said it. More local news: the Jordan and SLC school districts look at graduation plans. They're planning on maintaining the social distancing thing by live streaming the graduations on YouTube. So they're planning on doing it in sets of 3. Each set has different students, and they're going to be live streaming that all on like the normal date, which is July 4th. And nothing too far off from that. They're just going to be live streaming it. As for the traffic's kind of nice. There have been a few oopsies here and there, especially on I-80. There have been 2 accidents on I-80, but don't expect much of a delay. It's less than 5-minute delay. On that, traffic is nice, light. Go out for a drive. Probably not on I-80 though. And the weather's kind of nice, dude. It's like nice and warm, 67 degrees. High today is 84. Low is going to be 64. It's getting really hot. Humidity is hitting 29%. But that's just Utah weather. I'm gonna throw it back to you, dog.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Denny. Appreciate it. I will miss your casual and relaxed style. Like, all right, here it is. Like, Denny's about to drop that news. Love it. All right. Now we're going to continue the conversation about podcasting and transition a little bit more from listening to making of them. So, Portia, earlier in the show, you had mentioned that you have never made a podcast before. Is that still the case?
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay. You're just not a podcaster?
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I think it's fun. I take radio production, which is COMM 1560. I do recommend if you guys go to Slick. And since we are online with everything going on, our professor has given us the chance to do our own podcast from home. So you can talk about really whatever you want. And so I've been working on those assignments. So I've done 2 15-minute episodes. And they've been okay. He gave me full credit for them, so they must be not that bad. But I don't know. I think it's so hard by yourself. I guess maybe I could have had someone else, but I don't know who I would have.
Yeah.
Maybe I would enjoy the experience more if I had like a good co-host or whatever. But by myself, it just feels like I'm talking at nothing for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So I feel like that experience hasn't been that great. And I want like a really solidified topic too, because I bounce around so much in those few episodes to like different things, but it's just like I'm talking about like my life and recommendations for books and movies and restaurants, and I talk about COVID, but that's not like a solid theme for my podcast, whereas like most podcasts have a theme.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when we do. I mean, shout out as well to the radio class, COMM 1560 with Scott. It's a great class. But with that, when we're able to do a radio show in the studio, we're doing 30, 45 second, maybe even 2-minute, quick little breaks. And yeah, you're alone, but then you move into something. You can talk about the music that's coming up next. Mm-hmm. And with podcasting, especially alone, you're just kind of left to your devices to speak. And then especially when you're in the recording process and you're sitting there alone, it's like, I'm just talking to myself right now. Is this weird? Mm-hmm. So I totally get that.
Well, editing and like listening back to yourself talk for 15 minutes. I'm really glad that I don't edit these. I don't want to have to rewatch myself.
That's the thing. People ask me because I've done a lot in the way of recording, and I've done some video stuff, and I've edited myself a lot. And people are like, "Do you ever like get used to the sound of your voice? Do you ever stop hating it? And then the answer is no. You just move on.
Just get used to it. I still
Yeah,
easily hate it.
exactly. And like, I don't like my voice. I just put up with it. So for me, I have done podcast producing, but been on podcasts. I mentioned earlier currently on the podcast Bacon Sale. I had one called Adventure is Out There, about Disney and traveling. And I'm actually working on another one, and it's sort of a solo project, but it's based on other people. And then I realized I probably could never do a podcast where it's just me and just me talking. I really do need other people. So I've either had a co-host or a couple co-hosts or guests or something. And like on the new show I'm producing, it's interview based, and so I need people. So yeah, I think that's an important side of it.
Yeah, for sure. Do you not do your other podcasts anymore?
I'm yeah because it was about Disney and travel, two things that aren't really a thing right now.
Hmm.
And then just with like how it's been in life. I actually just last week did something that I don't think anybody really does. I put out a final episode and said, "Hey, thanks for listening to these." And we did like 60 episodes. Like, thanks for listening. We haven't produced anything in 4 months. I think we're done now, but thank you. So I just
Yeah.
decided to end it.
I feel like everyone's making podcasts now. Like
Yeah.
everyone in quarantine.
It's what's gonna be funny is how many of those still exist in like 2 months after everything opens back up. It's like
Hmm.
people either caught the bug and they want to do it, which I get. It's very fun, or people were just trying to pass the time, which I also get. I think that the last podcast, Adventure is Out There. You can find it at DisneyAdventurePod.com. Is It was really like we were kind of bored, and so this is what we're gonna do. Um, and then kind of didn't need it anymore, so we did move on. But I think it's really common for people to start podcasts, do 4 episodes, and stop. And that's kind of the tricky thing about producing it is continuing on, which does actually get easier with time. The hard part, most people actually get started. They put it together, right? You have to figure out what's the show about, what's it called, who's the host, how do I record it, how do I edit it, how do I get it out. Once you do that part, the rest is kind of easy. You just have to come up with more content.
Yeah. Coming up with content's harder than you would think. Like once
Yeah.
you get past that fourth and fifth episode, like even when I was recording the second episode for COMM 1560, I still was kind of like, I don't know, like everything, especially right now, like everything in my life has been the same for the last month and a half. So like when it's only about my personal life, nothing has changed. Everything's the same. I do the
Yeah.
same thing every day.
That's how I feel about vlogging. I
Yeah.
do video work, and I think that like vlogging is fun, and then I realize I do the same thing every day. There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
So Portia, let's say you had a podcast. Let's say you had to like start a podcast that you had to put out into the world. What would you do it on? True crime?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think I'd want to do book reviews.
Nice.
I really like to read books, and on my Instagram story, on my personal Instagram, I post book reviews on there, just like one slide every time I read a book, and it's mostly just so I can look back and remember that like how I felt about a book because I go through books so fast. It's honestly hard for me to remember like when I read it, how I liked it, if I should recommend it to other people. And so I could feel like I could easily translate that into a podcast. And I actually did a segment for my 1560 podcast, and Scott said it was good. So maybe that would work out for me. Probably not going
Nice.
to do it, but
But if you wanted to, you could.
I could.
Nice. For me, I realized I saw a Facebook post once upon a time that said, if you had to give a TED Talk right now, what would you automatically assume it that I would talk about? And I saw a bunch of people on my timeline post that, and I loved the answers. And so I put it out to the world like, hey, if you had to do one right now, what would you do? And I had a bunch of people comment, and I was like baiting them into my next show. And so that's what I want to talk about. Like, I like interviewing people. I like talking to them. So I'm going to be interviewing people and saying like, hey, do you know a lot about Ted Bundy? Cool. Let's talk about it. Do you know way too much about the history of transistor radios? Cool. Let's have a conversation. And so it made me realize I like talking to people. And so if or I should say, I shouldn't say if, like there's a Facebook page. It exists. It's called That Thing You Know. Shameless plug. Um, but it's something that I find very fun, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of podcasting. I think that people are getting a hard time for trying it out. I think that it's great. It's fun. At least do a couple episodes.
Mm-hmm. I really like it, and I'm an avid listener. So if people want to put more stuff out, I will give a listen.
Especially once we have to drive a lot more. Like now, I will say my podcast listening is down now that I don't drive as much. So when I get back to the commute, I'll need some more podcasts. I'm excited to see what people create.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take just a brief break, and then we're going to come back with everyone's favorite game, Would You Rather? Now, for Would You Rather, we're going to have to invite back our wonderful and esteemed producer, Alex. And then, Alex, are we having Denny play too?
Yes, we are.
All right. It's all you, Alex.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name's Alex, like Zach already said, and we're going to be playing Would You Rather. Okay, so everybody's going to be playing, and I just have a few questions for everybody. I couldn't find too many about podcasting, but we're gonna work with what we got. Okay, so we're gonna go Zach, Portia, then Denny. That's just how it's set up on my screen. Okay, so the first one is, would you rather be a little late to everything or way too early? I'm going to say like 30 minutes too early.
Oh, my audio cut out. What was that? One more
At what part?
What was your question? Sorry.
I said, would you rather be a little late or way too early, which is like 30 minutes to 45 minutes too early to everything.
I'm late to everything. It's who I am as a person. Why stop now?
Okay, Portia?
Always too early. Being late is like one of my biggest pet peeves. Like all of my friends are like habitually late people to everything that they go to, and it drives me absolutely insane.
Okay, Denny?
I'm already crazy early to everything I do. So it's like, why change it, you know?
Personally, I'd like to be... Oh, go ahead.
I'm just fashionably late. What can we say? Except for the fashionable part, I'm just late.
I'm always a little late. I plan on getting there early, but then just stuff happens in between them a little late.
Oh.
Oh, here we go. We lost our producer.
My would you rather questions last week were honestly the best ones anyone's ever heard, though.
If you haven't listened to last week's show, you can find it on Facebook Live at the SLCC SMC or Student Media Center page on Facebook. That was last week, right? Wasn't it? 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Last week. Porsche's were they threw us for a curve. Really made us contemplate our lives and what we wanted to do with them. And it was pretty legendary. I'm not going to lie.
I really put a lot of time into them. Like I put more time into the would you rather than my actual clock.
It's good. I mean, it's like instead of would you like cotton candy or a funnel cake? Yours was like, do you believe that there's an afterlife that you're going to go to when you die?
I know. Allison was like, I don't like talking about death. And I was like,
oh, yeah, way to go. Ooh. Nice grade there.
Next 4 questions are also about death. So I did have the zinger that's about if you would rather not listen to music ever again or only listen to Pitbull.
That was a good one.
That one hurt me.
That was a good
Pitbull,
one.
Denny.
Dude, Pitbull, like, you can like Pitbull, but like ironically. I don't think I've ever met someone who's unironically like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide. He looks like the evil villain in like everything, you know?
He's definitely James Bond villain.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I just got word from producer Alex. His laptop died, which is, it's part of it. So we're just going to give him a minute to come back. In the meantime, again, I will encourage you, please reach out to us on social media right now. We've got on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us on SLCC SMC. Not only is it some stuff that we're putting out there, but it's also the entire department. So you're going to see things from various classes on the YouTube page. If you actually go to YouTube and search the SLCC SMC, you'll be able to find our TV, our Globe News TV show. So there's content all over for you to enjoy. And I think recently, was it on the Globe News page? Have you guys seen this, where the Globe News staff is starting to share like their masks and everything like that? So it's pretty cool. Check us out on social media. Oh, Alex is back.
Alex, welcome back.
Oh, sorry about that. That was my own fault. I did not check my laptop battery.
It happens.
Okay, so to go on with this, would you rather be fluent in all languages or be a master of every musical instrument?
I would rather. That's so hard, because I could play instruments and be like, ladies, or I could like very easily, work with other people and probably have financial gain from it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with languages.
Okay, languages. Portia?
I think I would definitely go with languages. It'd be really helpful in like your day-to-day life.
Okay, Denny?
I think I gotta go with instruments, dude. I think like being able to play an instrument is like cool as heck, Like just being able to play all of them proficiently, that's pretty sick.
I think I'd go with instruments too. Just because I don't really, outside of like my professional career so far, I don't really talk to a lot of people. So I think being able to play every instrument is going to be very helpful in my life. I got one from Ashley. Would you rather never listen to your favorite podcast or listen to one podcast for the rest of your life?
My favorite podcast put out a lot of content, but there are so many good podcasts, so I will forego listening to my favorite podcast.
Okay, Portia?
I think I could forgo listening to my favorite podcast. I don't have like one favorite. I probably have 3 favorites. So if I lost one, I'd still have the other 2.
Okay, Denny?
I basically just already listened to one podcast, so it's not like it's not like I'm gonna miss much. So I'm gonna just stay with the one podcast.
Okay. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I'd get rid of my favorite one.
There's plenty to go around.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Especially after all this.
So my last one is a little off the wall, so bear with me. Would you rather replace your arm with a sword or replace your feet with wheels?
What?
Assuming it works in real life, like the wheels work and they just move.
Wheel feet.
No problems.
Wheel feet. And I will work at Sonic Drive-In.
Okay, wheel feet. Portia?
I would take the wheel feet. Chevrolet legs and Lamborghinis takes on a new meaning.
Okay, Denny?
Can I drift with these feet?
I think I'd take a sword arm.
What are you gonna do with the sword arm?
No, nobody takes me. I'm a big teddy bear, so if I had a giant sword arm, people would take me a little more seriously. So,
hey man, you sure you want to do that? Got a sword arm here.
Don't mess with me. And
how'd you tie your shoe though?
With the other hand.
Slip-ons, fans.
There you go. There's alternatives. Okay, and that is it for Would You Rather. I'm out of here.
It lived up to its name. Was definitely a very random Would You Rather, and I loved it. Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate it. So we're gonna do a little bit of a transition here. We're gonna rotate through some hosts and move on to the next phase of SLCC Live today. Technology has suddenly become a very important part of everyone's lives. We are going to be talking tech that we would want and the lifesavers after our next break.
All right. And since with this new transition, I'm still kind of getting used to the beats, but hey guys, I am Ashley Stenger and we are doing the next segment of SLCC Live. I am your host, Ashley Stenger, and I am with my co-host, Denny. We have Alex on news, weather, traffic, and we have our producer, Zach Western. So today, also, if you guys want to follow along, besides listening on Radio SLCC, you can follow us on Facebook at SLCC Student Media Center and the Globe, or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SLCC SMC. We are currently live on Facebook, so I'd check that right out. So, Danny, we all use technology every day, especially lately due to coronavirus. Let's talk about some of the tech we use in our everyday life. So, Danny, to start off, what kind of phone do you got?
All right, listen, man. I got a Note 10 Plus. This thing's bigger than like half of the bricks in my house. It's a good phone.
Nice. I have the iPhone 6S personally myself. So, what would you say you use your phone the most for?
For the most, I'd probably say like listen to music. I listen to an ungodly amount of my eardrums are damaged indefinitely due to the amount of music I listen to. But other than that, I'd say like use YouTube. You know, I like to read, and you can't have a phone without taking a fair share of memes. You know, like if you not looking at memes and have a phone, what are you doing?
That is definitely true. I know that I also listen to a lot of music. I use Spotify, I used Pandora, I use a lot of YouTube, and obviously Facebook Messenger because I need to video chat. Like, I feel like that's a necessity. So Messenger
hmm
is a big thing in my life. What's the music app that you use the most?
I like Spotify because like it's the most. I'm having a hard time finding the English words for this. It's the best like out of all of them, in my opinion. Like you got Apple Music, which has like bad HUD. SoundCloud is pretty cool, like if you're looking for underground music, but for the mainstream, not so much. I refuse to pay for YouTube. I absolutely refuse to pay for YouTube Music. And Pandora's Pandora. I can't say much on that.
So, what would you say is like, what sort of games do you play when you are using your phone? Do you play games? What sort of apps are your favorite?
I do play games, but like half the time I don't know. I install it and then I uninstall the next. Like I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh. There's this Yu-Gi-Oh app and I've just been playing that for like a little bit. It's been about 8 years since I played Yu-Gi-Oh, so I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's fun. It's fun, you know. What about you? Yeah, you have
Um,
preferred apps?
Well, I use Instagram obviously, and I have like editing apps like Visco and like Adobe Lightroom. In terms of games, I'm like addicted to BitLife. It's this like text-based game that you see all the
Okay.
commercials for on YouTube. It's like I'm obsessed with it, like an unnatural amount. It's like really funny, and I try to just wreck as much possible
Oh
like
wait,
lives on there.
is that the one where you like get all those dumb like responses that like make no sense? Like you have two options. Yeah, yeah.
Straight up. It's absurd. It's like you could become like a crime lord at like 11 years old and be like, it's the weirdest game. It's the weirdest app I think I've played in a long time. So I would highly recommend it if you're just looking to laugh. It's a great app for that. Um, you said earlier that you use your phone a lot for memes. Is there an
Absolutely.
app that you use to find memes or make your own memes?
I used to make my own memes like when I was like 16, but I like grew out of that because I have the attention span of like an orangutan, so I can't really focus that long on making a meme. But I'll use like Twitter. Twitter is like a nice place to find like a diversity of memes. But other than that, I'll probably like hop on like iFunny or something to like
True.
find more stranger memes.
So would you say there's any apps that you've been using more frequently during quarantine, during this coronavirus pandemic?
I made sure that I wouldn't be like social media out, so I uninstalled Facebook, I uninstalled Instagram, I uninstalled Snapchat. All I have left is Twitter because the banter that goes on Twitter is just like I can't let that be. There's just so much good banter on Twitter. But
You're gonna miss
like
the Donald Trump tweets if you get rid of it.
exactly. If you miss Donald Trump tweets, what are you doing? You know, besides living a happy life, what what else are you doing?
Well, I know in my case, I obviously had to install like WebEx and like Zoom on my phone since we're primarily using that in order to do like classes and work now. So like Slack's another one of the big apps I use, and Canvas for class. So would you say that phones are like a necessity in this day and age?
I do absolutely. And they absolutely are. Like without a phone, you're basically like left in a car with no gas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you don't have the resources necessary to go forward. Like you can make it through, but like you're gonna have to push that car. That car's gonna have to be pushed severely until you like make it to the destination. Like phones just make life easier. And what's the point of living a hard life, you know?
That's definitely true. So say, like besides phones, what other pieces of technology do you think are like a necessity? Things like you have to have in this day and age, or else you're just screwed. You're not gonna survive.
I'd say like some form of computer. Like it doesn't have to be like anything too fancy, but like most of the work that you're gonna be doing for like a job or college lectures, like you can do on your phone, but it's not gonna look good. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah. No.
Like you're definitely gonna need a computer. Other than that, maybe like a gaming console, you know, like Switch, Xbox, like PlayStation. Like you can do without it, but like, you know, how else are you gonna waste time faster? What are you gonna do? Stare at the ceiling?
Oh, dude, I love my gaming consoles. Like, I mean, at least me, I didn't grow up like in a upper middle class household, so I couldn't really afford the greatest tech. But I know when I was a kid, if I didn't have my N64, I wouldn't have been able to survive because I would have been so bored.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I was kind of at that switch of the generation of being like, do I want to stay in and play video games or do I want to play outside? And then I'm like, I had Super Mario on the N64, so I was like, I'm gonna do that instead.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can go outside or you can play Mario. One of those is significantly better than the other.
True. Have so also due to coronavirus, like the Nintendo Switch has been getting really big with like Animal Crossing and stuff. Do you personally have a Switch?
I have a Switch, yes, and it's actually like my favorite console, but I don't have Animal Crossing for it because I don't think it's like my cup of like coffee, my cup of tea, whatever the
Yeah.
saying is.
So
Like
what
if
are
I
you
want to pay
playing?
taxes, oh, what I am, like, Persona 5 Royal came out recently. I've been playing that way too much, 100%ed. Shout out me for spending 130 hours wasting my life and 100% of the game. That was pretty sick. Other than that, I've just been racing in Forza. That's basically it.
Cool. So we talked about phones and video game devices. Do you own any smart devices like Alexa or anything like that?
Spotify sent me a Google Home, so I can like say, "Hey Google," and like it'll do things for me. It's currently listening to me. Google, stop.
That's a big mood because also I know my nephews, like I don't personally have Google Alexa, but my nephews do. So you can tell when they're home because you randomly just hear Alexa turn on because they have a tendency to want to scream Alexa whenever they're bored. So it's like causes the most chaos because they know how to tell Alexa to play a certain song
Yeah,
and that's all they do now. So if that song starts, you're like, okay, there is a kid near Alexa. We got to get Alexa away from him. We have to unplug it or like turn it off or whatever because it's not. You can only listen to Gummy Bear so much, Denny.
yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can.
All right. So we are going to be tossing to our news, weather, and traffic. Hey, Alex, what do you got for the latest news, weather, and traffic for us?
Hey, everybody. So it looks like Utah they're going to lessen their restrictions starting Friday, which is in a step-by-step process by Gary Herbert. He says that we are currently in an orange area of danger. So red being the most danger, green being normal risk for coronavirus. He says that we are in an orange because Utah has stepped up in its prevention. So yeah, so that's what I have for us right now because that's most of the talk is going to be coronavirus related. Moving on to traffic, it doesn't look like we have very much. There's a bunch of debris on Highway 99, 501, heading southbound. It shouldn't do very much. It says that it's going to be cleaned up in about an hour, and only two lanes were affected, and it's a low risk. It's a maybe 5-minute delay. There was an incident on I-80 going eastbound. Also, it doesn't look like it's too bad. It's also less than 5-minute delay. Yeah, so that's it for traffic. For weather, we're looking at, so starting today into Monday, we are looking at high 80s into low 60s. It looks like we're transitioning into spring right now, so it's going to start warming up a little bit, but we're not quite to those summer temperatures yet, though I feel it. I run hot, so when it's even warm outside, I feel it. Yeah, and that's it for me. Tossing it back to you, Ashley.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. So, Denny, since we're talking about the
Mhm.
tech we do have, let's talk about tech we want, because, us as humans, we always want more. So is there something
Absolutely.
tech related you want, but you don't have yet, either due to like costs or due to logistics? Like, what's something you want?
I've always wanted like a proper gaming computer, like those big nerdy like Steam machine of computers. Like those things look sick. I've never like played much around with computers. Our parents are foreign, so they're terrified of technology. So like that's a major cause there, but it's also like dummy expensive. Like computers are dumb expensive. Other than that,
That
I'd probably like want a camera, like a
that
cool
is so
camera.
true. And for our audience out there too, we are currently live on Facebook at SLCC Student Media Center and the Globe. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SLCC SMC. So just also let us know, is there certain tech you want that you can't have yet? I know me personally, like I also want I want more cameras because I have my small Nikon right now. I'd always prefer to upgrade. It's too
Mhm.
expensive. What sort of gaming computer did you say you wanted? Like,
J-
is there a certain type?
I just want like a big, strong one, dude. I want something that could like sit there and look menacing. You know what I'm saying? Like walk
Yeah.
into the room and it's shooting off 80 different colors. That's what I want.
Dude, that would be so cool. That also reminds me of sort of like fictional sort of tech, and that just reminds me, like, is there any sort of like fictional tech that like doesn't exist yet that you think would be really cool to own?
That doesn't exist yet. You
Or
ever played
like,
Halo?
yeah,
Yeah, you know the ghost from Halo? I definitely want a ghost.
dude, that would be so cool. Well, for the people who haven't played Halo, can you explain Ghost in sort of like layman's terms? What is a
Right.
ghost?
So imagine a flying motorcycle that's like very purple with wings. That's basically what you're going to be riding, and it's fast and it's cool and it's sick and it's cool. I just want one, dude.
Dude, that would be so cool. And like speaking of like future tech for me, I'm just waiting for like a teleporter to exist because obviously I have to mention this every show. I'm in a long distance relationship. Do you know how much easier it would be if I had a teleporter to just be able to go to Seattle whenever I want? Plus, that would be a lot easier in times of like coronavirus.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
wouldn't have to deal as much with spreading the virus. So, what do you think is like more like realistically going to be invented pretty soon? So, like something that's kind of on the peak of being invented. Like we see like VR's getting a lot better recently. We see more different tech inventions. So what do you think is like close to becoming to fruition, and what are you looking forward to in the next like 5 years?
I would want like bionic limbs to become like an actual thing. Like right now we have like replacement limbs, but like they're not as like advanced as like they are in movies where you like move them around just like your old nerves. That'd be sick. I'd love to, see that come to fruition, you know?
That is true. I know, well, I've seen a lot of videos about prosthetics that like I feel like that's in the next 5 years, but I don't know if that'll happen. I hope it does. I'm looking at our Facebook right now to see what you guys have been saying. And you guys are popping off as always, which is amazing. Allison had mentioned that she hadn't thought of teleportation. That would be good. I totally agree. Portia mentioned earlier that she would sell her soul to play Animal Crossing, which is a complete mood, and I agree with. And Merkel, also our commander in chief, Merkel, says that he couldn't find a Switch, and if he could, he would totally have one, which I would agree with. So let's see. If you were stuck living in a tropical paradise and you could only bring one tech device with you, what would you bring?
One tech device
Yeah, so like
and
would you
forever?
yeah, and you were alone on this island. So what would you say? And try
Damn.
not to do the cop out of being like, I would use my phone to call for help. You're stuck on this island forever.
I'd probably bring like, oh man, this is a hard one.
Oh, and Zach
Uh
mentions if you bring your phone, you have unlimited battery. So
If I bring my phone, I have unlimited battery. But like, what's the point of a phone if you like don't have anyone to call? You know, like yeah, sure, you got the internet. Actually, I'd probably bring my phone. Yeah, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take I'll take back my standing.
But what if you can't use Twitter? Like, if you're alone, does this mean you're the only person alone in the world or the only person alone on the island? That's what I want to know. Would it change if you're the only person left on Earth? Would you bring your
If
phone?
I'm the only person left on Earth, I'd probably just bring like a Nintendo, like a GameCube, you know, any Nintendo console that has like good games is what I'd bring. But if it's like if I'm not the last person on Earth, probably my phone.
Do you know any good movies that like are big in tech? Because obviously, like we got things like The Terminator, we have things like Minority Report, we have things like Ex Machina. Like, do you have a favorite like tech themed movie?
Uh, I, I I think it was called like Ready Player One. I think it was like some dude goes into like hyper VR, and there was like a bunch of cool stuff, you know. And there was like a huge robot. There was a Gundam. There was a like video game characters. You know, there was like a lot going on in that like VR world. So I think that'd be pretty sick.
I've always wanted to see that. And that just reminds me of like Sword Art Online, like the anime. I'm pretty sure it has a similar sort of synopsis. I've never actually seen it, but I know it's like going inside a game, which I hope eventually that happens, but I don't think that's like it's not close in the production line yet,
Yeah.
which is sad. But VR is amazing. Do you have a favorite VR game?
I'm not fortunate enough to be a part of the VR wave, you know, but I have played what was it called? Super Hot at a friend's house with a VR headset. That was pretty cool. Like time moves with you. So like when you move, time moves in the game. So if you're standing still, nothing happens, and if you like move your hand, time continues. That was pretty sick in VR.
Dude, that is so cool. And also, to our producer, Zach, is there any tech movies that you really like?
Um, I actually agree with Ready Player One. I'm waiting for us to have our world entirely VR, and I actually believe that all this Zoom chatting, it's the starting of that. So everybody living in VR for the win.
That would be pretty cool. And I know that you have a fun new game for us, Tech Tinder with Zach. If you want to kick it right off for us, we're ready for some questions. And we will also be playing with our news, weather, and traffic, Alex round. So go right ahead, Zach.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm excited to get started here with a new game. Now, normally we would play Would You Rather, but I decided it's the end. Why not change it up? So we're going to play a little bit of a different game that I like to call Tech Tinder. Now, if you're not familiar with Tinder, which I'm not terribly familiar with Tinder because I'm an old. When you have an option of an individual you may match up with, you have the opportunity to swipe right if you like them and want to talk to them, and swipe left if you don't. We're going to do the same thing, but when it comes to certain tech things, some of them you've already talked about. So, for example, if I were to give you a website like Facebook, would you swipe right or swipe left? What do you guys got?
Are we including Messenger within Facebook?
Ooh, just Facebook proper. Good question.
Well, I would say disapprove because there's a lot of stupid people on my personal Facebook.
So you're swiping left on Facebook. What about you,
Yeah.
Alex?
Oh, hard swipe left. There's almost no need for me to be on Facebook besides to look at stuff in between me refreshing my Twitter feed.
And Denny?
Yeah, dude, I swipe left so fast.
Oh,
You have no
wow.
idea how fast.
Okay, I'm
Facebook getting no love.
I'm an old, so I would swipe right. How about Messenger though? Is it a different story with Messenger?
That's what I use to video chat, so I need Messenger.
Okay, so you're
Definitely
swiping
swipe
right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm swiping right on that. That's how I keep in contact with people I don't have their phone number.
Yeah, I agree. Swipe right.
I see. I'm a big fan of the Messenger because it's an even playing field. I, as an iPhone person, don't have to worry about green bubble Android people when I'm on Messenger because I'm the worst. Okay, how about Snapchat?
I would say swipe left because I don't even have Snapchat right
Hey.
now.
Go on.
Oh no, I was just saying it's like I just don't find anything really interesting on Snapchat. Sorry for cutting you off. Go right ahead.
No, you're good. Swipe left. My life isn't that crazy important to take pictures of everything I'm doing. So, yeah, no, on Snapchat.
I might swipe right if there's like a big concert in the area and everyone's gonna be recording it. So I don't have to pay, and I'd basically see the concert for free. You know?
Nice. Nice. Okay, let's keep the social media thing going. What about Twitter?
I would swipe right because like me and Denny were talking about earlier, you got to see those Donald Trump tweets. You have to.
Ooh, this is a hard one because sometimes Twitter is bad, but definitely swipe right for the little bits of happiness that pop up every now and then.
Okay.
I gotta agree with like Alex. Twitter is probably like one of the worst places on earth. You know, it's filled with like both good people and degenerates. But like it's the mix. It's the mix that gets me going. You know what I'm saying? I'm swiping right.
Nice. I'm actually a Twitter fan. It's pretty toxic, but you can actually tailor your experience pretty well. Okay, how about Instagram?
I have to swipe right. I love taking pictures of when I'm on vacation. I am a basic Instagram girl, so swipe right definitely.
I'm gonna swipe right. I've been getting more into the Instagram stories lately and like filling out those little templates. It's just something fun for me to do while I'm sitting around.
I'm gonna swipe left. I'm just not a big fan, to be honest.
Fair, fair's fair. All right, last one with social media apps. TikTok.
That's hard because already when I watch TikTok, I just watch the compilations on YouTube, so all I need is the YouTube app. But I've seen this video by Luke Alexander on YouTube that he just released. It's like why TikTok is like damaging mentally to like teens because it's basically the newest app that increases like societal pressures on teens to approach themselves as being more perfect than they actually are, which I feel like is really unhealthy. So I know how bad TikTok can be. It's like as toxic as some of the other apps. I don't feel like it's better or worse than any of the others. It's just me personally. I don't have it, so I would swipe left.
Oh, I would swipe left. I am in the wrong generation for TikToks.
Yeah, left so fast, dude.
All right, so it looks like if as we're through our social media, you guys are going out on a date with Facebook Messenger, Instagram, maybe Twitter, but not TikTok or Facebook or Snapchat. Not fans. All right. Let's see. Now we're gonna change gears a little bit into sort of entertainment. I'm just gonna give you a couple entertainment options. Um, Obviously we're doing a lot with watching TV and watching streaming. So let's start with the big boy Netflix. Swipe right, swipe left.
Swipe right, definitely. I'm currently watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and if I don't have Netflix, I don't know exactly where I'd go to keep watching it. So Netflix, swipe right, definitely.
Yep, I would swipe right as well. There's a lot of Korean dramas on there that I normally wouldn't be able to find. So yeah, swipe right.
Yeah, I'd swipe right. You got some good shows on it. Like, given Netflix like takes things away faster than like I don't know. I can't make a family friendly like term here, but like, but you know, they got some good things. Swipe right.
Okay, so I think it's funny that it was the most mainstream choice. I was expecting a swipe right, but you all like put up these hipster choices of what you want to watch. So it's pretty funny. Okay, like what about Hulu? How do we feel about Hulu? Swipe right, swipe left.
I would say swipe right because I mean, basically, I just go through Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I basically just find whatever show I want to watch at the moment, like which streaming service it's on. Because luckily enough, I'm friends with people who have accounts on like all three, so I'm able to just jump onto their account and watch stuff. And Hulu, I think, has Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Psych, so Hulu's swipe right from me.
Okay.
Yep, swipe right for me. Yeah, sort of like Ashley said, it has all the shows that I can't find on Netflix. So I'll go to Netflix first, and then I'll go to Hulu to look for the next stuff that I can't find on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm swiping right. The only way I can watch regular show is on Hulu, and like life without regular show is just boring, dude.
Okay. Now, what about Prime Video? It is one of the most subscribed because people buy Prime for the shipping and it just comes with a video streaming service, right? So swipe right, swipe left.
I've noticed a lot with Amazon Prime that like sometimes when you want to watch a specific show, you have to download or you have to pay for like a certain section of it. Because I know when my boyfriend David and we wanted to watch Avatar, we had to buy Nick Hits, which is basically like more money you have to pay in order to get a certain show, which I thought sucked, but I'd still watch it because there's still some good stuff on there. I think Girls is on Prime Video, so that's a good show.
Okay.
I actually really like Amazon
Really?
streaming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like I said, it goes Netflix and then it goes to Hulu, and then whatever I can't find, I'll go to Amazon because I know it will be there for sure. And if it's not, then onto the internet I go.
Fair.
I'd swipe right on Amazon. Amazon has some good like gems, you know? Like it has Chef. You ever seen Chef? Chef's a good movie.
Love Chef.
You know, it just has things that you wouldn't normally like. You'd see it and you're like, oh, whoa, yeah, I should watch that. You know?
Right. So still in the entertainment realm, we went through the big streaming guys. I mean, I'm going to leave you out, Disney. You can sit on the sidelines for once. I'm going to say next up, Audible. How do you feel about Audible? Would you take it or leave it?
I would swipe right. Like there's some good podcasts on there, or like even like you could. Well, no, I don't know. Wait, does Audible do podcasts?
Audible
It's audiobooks. Yeah. Sorry about that. Just got mixed up. But yeah, I know I listened to Disaster Artist, which is about the making of The Room, which I know you guys referenced a couple weeks ago about Tommy Wiseau.
Love that book.
By the way, Alex, I know you pronounced Tommy Wiseau right. I respect you for knowing how to pronounce it. So good job. But swipe right on Audible because Disaster Artist is great.
I would swipe right on Audible. They have some great originals. I mean, where else are you going to get Tim Curry and I think Alan Cummings? I have a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula where they both narrate. So, like, where else are you going to get those two together reading a piece? So, yeah, swipe right on Audible.
I think I'd actually swipe left. You know, I'm not a big audiobook guy. If I'm gonna do anything with a book, I'd rather like read it in my own hands and hear the voice in my head talk. I don't know, man. That's just me.
It's quiet for me. It quiets the other voices in my head. So overall, I like a good book myself. Okay, we're just gonna do a couple more. We were talking text. I want to do just a couple quick, and we'll just do quick ones. Let's just just give me your answer real quick. We'll blow through these. How do you feel about tablets? Swipe right, swipe left.
Swipe right.
Swipe right.
Yeah, right.
Man, I must be the only one. I cannot figure out why I need one. I cannot figure out how to use a tablet. How about smartwatches?
Swipe left.
Yeah, swipe left. There's no need for it.
Swipe left, dude. Smartwatches are goofy.
Whoa. Okay. It's okay, Apple Watch. You didn't mean it. How about ginormous televisions?
Swipe right if I could afford it.
Okay.
Swipe right. For sure that's a need for me.
I'd rather have a big TV than a weird watch, so I'm swiping right.
Okay. So I'm like one of the only. I prefer a little smaller TV that has like a nicer picture. I get overwhelmed by big TVs. Okay. How about video doorbells? This is kind of a new thing. Swipe right, swipe left.
Swipe right. Extra protection is always nice.
Okay.
Swipe left. I have 3 German Shepherds, and they're the alarm that I need, and they're the protection that I need, so it's fine.
I'm swiping left. I already have a peephole. Like, what else do I need?
Nice. All right, and here's the last one. We referenced it earlier, but I want to hear your opinion, whether you would swipe right or left on like any of the personal assistant speakers, Alexa, Google, any of those.
Swipe right. I feel like it'd be funny.
Swipe right for the speaker, for sure, to play music louder.
While they're cool, right? I think I'm gonna have to swipe left because sometimes my Google Home lights up and I'm not even talking, so I think it's listening to me, and I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. I think I'm wiretapped.
Fair enough. I had 6 Google Homes in my house, and so I have audio throughout it all, and I sync it all up, and I go, you know what? It's listening to everything that I am, but that music sounds good though. Anyway, thanks guys for playing this edition of Tech Tinder, the one and only edition of Tech Tinder. Back to you, Ashley.
All right. Thank you for our producer, Zach. And believe it or not, guys, summer is right around the corner, and we are going to rotate hosts once again and talk all about our summer plans here on SLCC Live. Currently, we are live on Facebook at SLCC Student Media Center in the Globe. So if you guys want to watch our live stream, you can go over there right now, or you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SLCC SMC. All right. And for our next host, we are going to be having Alex host. Take it away, Alex.
Hello, everybody. All right. So we're into the third segment of our show where I'm going to be hosting. So we're going to be talking today about summer plans, and I want to, spotlight the people who are going to be helping us out. So we have Portia, who is pretty much our resident travel expert. And we're going to have Zach joining us for news, weather, traffic. Say hi, Zach.
Oh, I'm unmute. Hello. Hi.
There you go. Unmute. Okay. So let's just start this off with, do you have any funny or weird stories? Portia, anything? Like from traveling or school, anything like that?
Trying to think. I guess I've been dealing with some like really weird sleep stuff and like some FBI agent stuff. So I have two quick stories.
Okay, go for it.
I love melatonin and I take it all the time, like often and a lot. And I ran out of my regular melatonin, so I got more at Target like a week ago. And this specific brand has chamomile in it as well, and like some other additives. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But like it's been giving me the craziest dreams, and I already have like a problem with sleep talking and sleepwalking. But this specific brand, my roommates are so scared because I talk all night. I get up and I like say things and I literally have no recollection of it. I haven't experienced that since I lived at home and like maybe high school. So that's been happening a lot. Make sure you check out your melatonin. These are gummies, so maybe it's the gummy effect. I don't know, but that's been happening to me a lot. My poor roommates listen to me sleep talk. And the problem is that it sounds like I talk like a sim. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, have you ever played The Sims before?
Yeah, you speak Simlish while you're asleep?
Yeah, it literally sounds like that. That's like what I've been told. But I get like really angry, but it's like complete like sounds like a sim. So, but that's been happening to me a lot recently. And then the other thing that's been happening to me that's kind of funny also is I feel like at home, since I've been spending so much time on social media and on my computer, my phone, whatever, my FBI agent has just been listening to me. So like the other day we did some social distancing, drinking up some brews. So we set up chairs 6 feet apart and we drank a brew. But we were talking about how in high school, like you take the ASVAB, which is, I don't know, like the test like before you can go into the military. It doesn't matter, like Army, Air Force, whatever. And in high school, I took it because it was only like 3 or 4 hours long. And after that, you got to go home. So I took it so then I could just leave for the rest of the day. And I didn't have any plans of joining the military. And then one of like my high school teachers was like, oh, would you go in the military? And I was like, oh, probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I just didn't want to be mean. And literally a few days later, she had brought in recruiters because I was already 18. And they had brought lunch and everything for us. And they had like the packets so you could like sign your name away. Anyways, we're talking about this specific experience. And then yesterday, I got a message from a recruiter on Facebook from like this area, like a actual person, not like a robot or anything, about like joining the military. And I was like, that's so weird. And the person who was there, I was like, dude, isn't that weird? And at the exact same time, he got an email from a recruiter, like 2 different ones. But we had just talked about it. So
wow, that's that's a pretty big coincidence.
I know. And I was like, I don't want to join the military. Please leave me alone. But like at the exact same time, because he was there during that conversation the day before. And then at the same time, recruiters reached out to us, like 2 different recruiters on different interfaces. It's crazy. Be careful what you talk about around your devices, because next thing you know, you'll be in the military.
I've also been having a lot of weird dreams. They haven't been, they've been not some bad dreams and like some really personal dreams, but it's been wild how vivid they are. Like it's like I'll wake up. I think the last one I woke up and my heart was pounding, and I haven't had that happen almost ever. And yeah, sort of related to the sleep topic you brought up, I'm a heavy sleeper, and the story I have with that is before I knew I had sleep apnea, my friends tell this story all the time. They thought I had died on a trip that we were on because how they told it was I'm the granddad of the group. I will fall asleep at like 9 o'clock, and if I don't fall asleep by then, I get grumpy, and then I just get moody, and it's not a good idea. And I had fallen asleep, and they stayed up until like 2 or 3 a.m., and they were chatting back and forth, and they heard my snoring, and then all of a sudden I just stopped breathing for like 30 seconds, and then 40 seconds. And then as they tell it, they were about to reach over and like see if I actually was dead, and I snorted awake, and then I went back to sleep. So that's sort of when I knew I needed to, get my sleep apnea checked. And then another one I have is, even though I was told that way back when, this was like 2 years before this next story, I had to get some minor surgery for my eyes, and they had to put me under, and I didn't know I had sleep apnea. I had been told that could be a thing, but nobody really told me to check it. And when I went in for surgery, all I remember is first, I was sitting there in a cold room, and the nurse had the rubber band on my arm, and she put in the anesthetic, and she's like, why aren't you asleep yet? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, oh, that's why. And I remember feeling the rubber band like release, and then immediately I was out. And then I woke up in the middle of it because the anesthesiologist like shook me awake because I had stopped breathing, and he thought that was something on his end. But yeah, that was my sleep apnea. So I scared an entire surgery room because I didn't know I had sleep apnea.
Do you have it under control now? Do you have a CPAP?
Oh yeah. And it's changed my life significantly. I'm not tired, and it's sort of a comfort thing now that like when I put it on, I'm going to sleep. I know I'm going to sleep. Nobody can get me out of that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to pass it on to Zach for news, weather, traffic. What do you got for us, Zach?
Hello. Well, it looks like Costco is going to be requiring shoppers to wear masks, but luckily, Governor Herbert has got you covered. Hopefully. Yesterday, Governor Herbert and Lieutenant Governor Cox announced a mask for every Utahn, a public-private partnership to provide free face masks to Utahns who don't have one. Priority will be given to Utahns who are working in an essential industry and of vulnerable populations, including anyone over the age of 65. Any Utahn can request a mask at coronavirus.utah.gov/mask. And then looking into some interesting news when it comes to the entertainment industry, apparently a feud has broken out in the entertainment world over, of all things, the sequel to the movie Trolls. Following the successful video-on-demand release of the animated movie Trolls World Tour, the film's distributor, Universal Pictures, says that it could be the future for additional releases, even after the pandemic subsides and life returns to normal. So they would release video-on-demand versions of their movies, maybe concurrently with the movie theaters. Who knows? A movie chain, AMC Theaters, has stated that they will refuse to play any Universal movies if they choose to do that. So once their theaters reopen, which obviously they're closed right now, AMC will not be playing any Universal Pictures movies if they're going to release those at home. We'll see what happens there. Luckily, there's probably enough time before theaters open again for them to settle their differences. Looking ahead at the weather right now, I mean, we're headed towards a pretty warm day. It's going to be about 82 degrees here today for a high. We'll be hitting the warm spot around 3 p.m. Currently, you're looking at about 71 degrees. And the 7-day forecast, we are hitting the height of our heat as far as this week goes. It's going to trail off into the mid 70s coming up here this weekend. So it should be pretty lovely if you've got some errands and chores to do. I think this weekend's going to be the time. As we look ahead at the traffic, looks like things are pretty well clear, as they typically are this time of day. There is a little bit of debris happening on I-15 in Layton, but that is causing just a little bit of delay at just about 5 minutes. But there is debris apparently all over the road. Your drives are at the normal speeds, it seems, except for those darn bits of construction. That's right, construction is it's in full bore here in Utah. So we're in the new season. You're going to be seeing all sorts, particularly, at least for me, there's quite a bit going on I-15. So watch out for those construction workers, and make sure you're driving safe out there. That's all I've got. Back to you guys.
Hey, thanks, Zach. Okay, so Portia, now that we're starting to warm up, everything's starting to come back to life. Okay, so assuming that Corona is gone, like, let's just start thinking ahead here. Corona's gone in the next 2 weeks. I'm throwing it out there. Okay, so what are your plans for the summer? What were your plans for the summer, if not?
Well, what day is it? The 29th? So in 10 days, I was supposed to be in Peru. So that's really sad. So I was going to spend 10 days there. Yeah. And so we had to cancel that trip, which really sucks because I'm in the pickle because I requested time off work, and at the hospital we have to request time off like really in advance. I think I requested the time off in December, January. And so even if I do go again, which I can, I have the money refunded, I don't know when I'm going to be able to take another 15 days off, because since primary children's is so overstaffed, I have to use my PTO now for those 15 days. So in 10 days, I'm just going to sit at home for 2 weeks and not go to work or anything because they don't have any shifts open for me. So like that really, really sucks. I'm going to have to use my PTO, but then I can't use my PTO later. Does that make sense? Like it really sucks that way. But I think I might try to go on a trip for fall break. The U has, I think it's October 4th through the 12th or something. So it won't be as long. I might be able to swing it. But I would really like to go because every year I try to see a wonder of the world. And so this year was going to be Machu Picchu. So I really got to go see one. I think if all else fails, I might go to Mexico and go to Cancun so I can go to Chichen Itza. But I don't know. It's a lot to really think about because you're really risking booking anything right now.
Oh, yeah. I've heard there's like a lot of troubles getting refunds for almost anything lately. So I can see why it's a major danger to put out any money anywhere.
I think like airlines are pretty good about refunding money, but like hotels and other things like that, that's a lot harder. But I think airlines are generally pretty good. They might not refund your money. They might just give you flight credit, but.
I have a friend who was planning on going. Oh, I feel so bad for her. She was planning on going to Korea, like as soon as Corona broke out. So then she canceled those plans, and then she still had plans to go to New York to go to, I don't remember what show on Broadway, but she had Broadway tickets to go to New York, and then New York shut down. And she is still, I think if I remember correctly, she's still like fighting to get refunds from Broadway because it's already been a problem.
Yeah, it sucks so bad. I know like a couple people that were doing study abroads and they all had to go home and they just lost their money. Like they paid to go for like 4 months for a full semester and they were only there for a month and a half or whatever before they started sending people home from like Europe. And I guess like study abroad, or like I did an internship last summer in Thailand, and the girls who went this last summer or this last semester, they had to go home early and they just lost all their money, and it's like $4,000 to go there for 4 months, and they were only there for a month and a half, and they were just like, sorry, like that's how it is.
That really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have I was busy this summer, but I wasn't plan busy, if that makes sense. Like I had things I needed to do, but I didn't set the plans yet. Like I had, I think 2 or 3 shows with my band set up that I was supposed to go play, and we had to cancel every one of those shows. And then I had another band that I'm playing for that was going to play more shows. So I think I had like 5-6 shows lined up for this entire summer, and all of those got canceled. I was planning on going to the gym more. I was planning on being out more. Just sort of everything is pushing me inside. This year was supposed to be, tank top summer, because I normally don't wear tank tops, and I've been working on my arms. So we're getting there. I was going to show those guns, but I guess not.
Yeah, well, one of my New Year's resolutions or like New Year's goals, I wanted to be able to run a 10K this not necessarily this summer, but this year. And so in January, well, starting Christmas break probably, and in January leading into February, I really like got my cardio game up. Like I was doing really well because I would go on the ellipticals or on the treadmills at the gym, but there is no way I could run one now. Like even in just this month and a half, like my stamina has gone down so much. I worked out yesterday outside, I did a HIIT workout, and my legs are so sore. I was like, this has not been good. I think Voss, I just got an email from them that said that they are planning on opening back up kind of soon, but you have to like book a time to work out, like to maintain social distancing. So it's probably going to be impossible because Voss is always packed with the meatheads anyways.
Would that work out for you, do you think?
I don't know, maybe. I usually, because my schedule is so weird, because I work like nights and days and I had school at kind of weird times, I'd usually work out in like the middle of the day so it wouldn't be that busy. But it will be impossible for people who try to work out before and after work. Because if you go to Voss at 6 p.m., like you have a death wish. Like you're definitely going to get athlete's foot, you're definitely going to get strep throat, and you're not going to be able to use any machines anyways.
Yeah. I usually go to Planet Fitness, and I'm one of those like I have to hype myself up the whole day to go sort of person. So I don't know if I could set a time because
pre-workout, drink a Bane, pre-workout saves your life.
Oh yeah, it does. I have a few that now there's no reason for me to take because I'm sitting around, so I shouldn't. That's the better word for it. I shouldn't take any pre-workout while I'm just sitting here. I feel like that would either lead to a lot of assignments half done or me just passing out.
I've been not drinking very much caffeine, but I'm probably going to drink some caffeine after this because it is finals time and I have work to do.
Mm-hmm. Me too. There's a bunch of assignments I need to finish.
I think as soon as my assignments are over, I need to start getting into a new routine. I actually recently found out that I got an internship yesterday, and so I need to go get started on some internship stuff. But this summer's not going to be, it's definitely going to be very different, but I'm going to be working full time and doing the internship. So hopefully it feels kind of normal, but I also got scheduled for every major summer holiday. It's like I have to work Memorial Day, Labor Day, the 4th of July, and the 24th of July.
Wow.
So not even going to really feel like summer. I don't know how that happened to me either, but
just happened right underneath you. That's how it happened. Okay, so so let's throw this out here real quick. What are some of your dream locations? I know you said you want to go to the 7 wonders of the world, but are there any other places you want to go?
In the next probably 2 years, I want to go to India and Nepal. I want to spend a long time there, so probably at least 3 weeks. I'm not like a big Europe person. I feel like I want to get out, get like Central America, South America, and like Asia out of my system because I think backpacking when you're older and you have kids and stuff is so much harder. So I'd rather do like those locations now, so that way if I do ever have kids, I feel like it's a lot easier to go to like Europe with them than it is to like stuff them into a stinky hostel in Asia. So I think I'm going to try to do Nepal and India soon, hopefully to see the Taj Mahal. It'd also be really awesome to go to Jordan and see Petra, which is like, I don't know if you've ever seen, I don't remember what Indiana Jones it's in, but it has like the buildings inside the stone walls. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really beautiful. And
or a Mortal Kombat Annihilation if you're a cheesy garbage fan like I am.
Something like that, yeah. I feel like those places are going to be in my next few years, but I think India is going to be really awesome. I'm really excited. Nepal will be really good. I mean, if I ever get back on the gym grind, maybe I will do Everest Base Camp, because base camp is obtainable. Like most people can do base camp if they really put in some training beforehand. I think that would be really awesome, but it is so expensive to go to Everest. Like I don't think people really know, but to like do base camp, it's like $4,000. You're paying $4,000 to go on a hike.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's a lot for an Everest run.
It's just there's not very many like resources and stuff there, so like it makes sense, I guess. But yeah, and I didn't know this either, but there's only 2 weeks out of the year that you can hike Everest.
I think I had heard that before.
Yeah. So
From yeah.
I don't know why I thought that it was longer than that, but yeah, 2 weeks out of the year. And I think I actually read that they're not going to do it this year because of coronavirus. It's canceled like everything else.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to transition. So after this quick break, we're going to transition into our last segment of Would You Rather. All right, we're going into Would You Rather. And with this, we're going to be tossing to our main man, Denny. All right, Denny, start it. Get it going.
All right. So I got questions for Alex, Portia, Zach, and of course the lovely Facebook audience. Now, these questions might seem a tad bit strange,
I
but
wouldn't imagine.
but I'll start off easy. Would you rather lose your dominant arm or lose your dominant leg?
Leg. Sweep the leg. The leg goes.
I mentioned it before in my segment. I'll lose my arm. Dominant arm for sure.
Let's see. Would you rather only drink LaCroix for the rest of your life or eat nothing but gas station sushi for the next 2 years?
Gas station sushi, dude.
What?
Gas station sushi.
I will drink carbonated water that's thinking about a flavor instead of sushi.
That's exactly what it doesn't have a flavor. It's just thinking about, man.
It's like when you set a cup in the
go ahead.
fridge and there's fruit. Like you just set a cup in the fridge and there's also fruit there and like a little bit of the taste like it's on there. That's all LaCroix is.
That's exactly what LaCroix is.
Better
Would
than
you rather
gas station sushi.
would you rather have the smell of Axe body spray linger in your nose forever or have the smell of gasoline linger in your nose forever?
Gasoline for sure. Gas kind of smells good if you're a crackhead like me.
Yeah, gasoline. Gasoline's one of those like you shouldn't enjoy how it smells, but it kind of smells good. Axe is way too much.
Axe brings back too many memories, so gasoline's fine.
During a time of extreme crisis, would you rather rob a bank or take out a loan with a 20% interest rate?
Ooh, that's
Three
a great
squares a day, or paying a loan for the rest of my life.
I'm gonna say I'll rob a bank. There's at least a chance I won't have any repercussions. There's a chance. The loan I can't run away from.
There's lots of people that get away with it, so I'll rob it. 3 hots and a cot, even if I don't.
I'm already so used to student loan debt. I'll just keep the loan. It's fine.
Would you rather snowboard down the Himalayas or jet ski through the Bermuda Triangle?
So I have a fear of deep, dark water. So I would go with the snowboard down the Himalayas.
No. I think I would do the Bermuda Triangle because isn't that where Uncle Fester went in Adam's Family?
Yeah.
Where he can hang out.
Yeah, I'll take the Bermuda Triangle too.
Okay. Would you rather slap box a bear or have Pitbull haunt your dreams?
I'm a bear. I'll slap box a bear for sure. I'll go for it.
Slapboxing a bear is one and done, so I'll take that. I'm not going to get haunted forever by Pitbull.
Yeah, I'll take the bear.
All right, the final question, and my personal favorite one. Would you rather get trapped in a room with 16 mildly hungry tigers or get addicted to ketamine?
What? What are you doing with this?
Okay. I'll go with the tigers. Just cause I don't want to get addicted to ketamine.
I'll take the horse tranquilizer. I'll just be like everyone else in Utah. It's fine. It's the norm.
Tigers.
Well, that was the final segment of Would You Rather for this semester. I'm gonna toss it back to Alex and Portia. Thank you guys very much for participating.
No problem. Thank you. Zach, you can stay on if you want. So we're here. This is our final show of the semester. And I just want to say thank you all for coming and watching, helping us get these shows going. I want to thank my classmates. This has been a lot of fun. We've been, obviously this has been the weirdest semester to be able to get everything still going and a lot of coordination that's needed to be done. I want to thank Allison for keeping it all on the rails and like making sure that we can get this done in the first place. And yeah, stay tuned later on in the semester when you have a new group of hosts coming through. And yeah, that's it for me. Does anybody else want to say anything before we go?
We made it. We did it. We survived the weird COVID thing.
Class of 2020.
There we go.
That's
Thanks
it.
everybody for listening. Hey, Ashley.
Yeah,
I wanted
thanks
to make
everybody
sure
for
to say
listening.
goodbye. So
Okay, I think that's it. We're going into our final song. And yeah, have a great day, everybody.
Yeah.
Cheers.